Hey, this is Jpar, and you are listening to the new review. Today on the show, we are reviewing the new Marvel movie, Black Panther. That's right, folks. It's new, and it's about Black Panther. It's going to be exciting. Today on the show, we have Myles, we have Clayton, we have Da Boo. Say hello to the crowd.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
I'm just getting over a cold. Fuck off.
wow.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hey, guys. Da Boo here.
All right, so it is cold here where we are in Northern Ontario, and nothing better to do but watch movies and review movies. So here we are again to review another Marvel superhero action-packed flick. Or is it? Well, we'll let you know in just a little bit. So, it is Black Panther. It is directed by Ryan Coogler. It's about, if you've watched Civil War, he was introduced there in the Civil War story, played by Chadwick Boseman. And also in this movie, we got Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyongo, Denai Guerrera, Martin Freeman, Daniel Kaluuya, and others. There's others.
Did you say Forrest Whitaker?
Forrest Whitaker's in here, too.
His son, too.
And his son. Forrest Whitaker and son, people. They also make an appearance. So, what do you guys think about this Black Panther movie that we're seeing? Because...
That's how you want to start it? Wow.
Just open-ended. Go.
How about our expectations going in? I think that's a good question.
Do you think that's a good way to start the show? I don't remember how to do this anymore.
Wow. Pretty sure Myles is right.
This is off the rails.
Well, I mean, I think it's a fair bet we should start there because we all know that what we expected going in is not what we ended with.
So what are the first impressions? So as I was saying, we are introduced into this Black Panther character from Civil War. We know he's a Wakandan king. We knew he had to take over the moniker from his father because he was assassinated in Civil War. And if you haven't seen Civil War by now, folks, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not spoiling that movie. You just have seen it by now. Captain America 3, so it's a good one. Now, is this one a good one? Now, a lot of people are giving Black Panther a lot of praise. I see a lot of critics out there really holding this movie up on a mantle, and I really do think there is some high expectations with this one. I was excited myself to see what kind of world Wakanda was going to be, and it's another side of Marvel that we haven't seen in this cinematic universe, so I was excited to see it. What about you, Myles? What are your expectations going into Black Panther?
Well, I don't like to do this, but before I seen this movie, I did see a couple spoiler-free reviews. And yeah.
Why did you do that?
Well, they're very basic, and the overall theme was this is the Citizen Kane of Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah, well.
Reinvented the genre, reinvigorated the franchise if there was any franchise fatigue going on. And it was also breaking records for the amount of reserved tickets. Like, this movie was destined to make a lot of money, whether it was good or whether it was bad.
That's true.
So going in, I had some extremely high expectations for this movie because he was one of the cool parts of Civil War.
Yeah, for sure.
You got just enough to get your toes wet, but you wanted more, and this was that answer to that question: who is Black Panther? So yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I had some pretty high expectations walking into the theater.
Yeah, what about you, Boo? Did you have some high expectations for Black Panther?
I don't know if the word high came to mind because I don't know what I was expecting. I maybe was expecting...
something.
You know what? It's hard for me to describe. Yes, something. I knew what they were going to try to do with this movie before I began watching it. That I can admit. So I think the message and the tone of the whole movie is certainly different from the rest of the Marvel movies. For now, I'm not going to say whether if that's a good or bad thing. I just know that going in right from the get-go, I knew I shouldn't expect this to be, another Captain America movie or Iron Man movie or
Guardians of the Galaxy. Definitely not.
I get that they all have their own, their own tones. And this one certainly had its own, but this had some unique visions to bring to me, and I did not want it. Let's just say that.
Expectations going in, Clayton.
Well, I'm not really a comic book movie guy all the time. Like, I like kind of the big names, so Black Panther's like kind of off my radar. It's not something I would typically watch. And
Do you remember the character from Civil War? You've seen Civil War,
yeah,
right?
I saw him. I remember seeing him, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then I just kind of, the rest of that didn't really do anything for me. But then I found out they were making a movie. I was like, okay, well, it was kind of like I was kind of neutral, you know. I was like, okay, if it's awesome, good, that's cool. We get to see another like good action movie. And if it's not gonna break my heart.
Then we get to make fun of it on the show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
sometimes I'm
it's
secretly
a win-win,
hoping that a
you know
movie
what I
is
mean?
bad. I
It's a
secretly-
win-win scenario sometimes.
Yeah, I secretly hope that some movies are bad just so I can tear them apart.
You know, sometimes I try not to do that though because I don't want to fall fated to like always just
Well,
always do that just
Not
because.
every movie can be Underworld Blood Wars.
Very true. All right, so now we're gonna get into the review. We're gonna let you guys know what we think about it. We're gonna give it a rating. We're gonna try not to get into too much spoilers just yet, just in case you haven't seen the movie. So you can listen to what our ratings are, and you can go see the movie, come back, and then listen to Spoiler Town and see if your best and worst matches up with ours. So Myles, why don't you take it away? I'll let you start it off with the rating. Give me rating in quickly. Why?
A rating. This has to be one of the hardest movies to rate to date for me. I am a Marvel fanboy. You guys know that. This is tough. This is tough because the movie was fun, but at the same time, it was not without its problems. And for, I don't know what number this is in the Marvel universe right now, 18 or something, like out of all the movies. I feel like it failed in the Infinity War idea. Like this overall agenda that is Infinity War. So, I'm going to give it a 3. And that is me being generous because I still got some entertainment out of the movie. And I can't ignore that. Even though as a Marvel franchise, I feel like this is kind of the chink in the armor for me. Because it missed so many beats. Like I felt like it was going in one direction and then it took me in another direction. And that's okay. But in this instance, I didn't like it. I felt like they were leading up to several different things and it was like it was reaching the whole time and it couldn't capture what it was reaching for. I don't know how else to explain it. It was a weird movie.
So it's like 3 Kingsglaives out of 5.
Yeah.
As a game intro is pretty awesome, but as a movie...
It was trying to be 4 different movies, and I don't know which movie came out on top. It was like it was fighting
This
to
is
be...
the 18th, I believe. The 18th Marvel movie.
Okay. Because if you watch the movie, you're going to get some James Bond, you're going to get some Mission Impossible, you're going to get some Game of Thrones, you're going to get some... But you're not getting the best of those genres or types or tropes. So, I don't know. I give it a 3.
All right, and Da Boo.
Well, again, without getting into too much detail, I myself had a hard time rating this. I think it's because after seeing so many Marvel movies, we know where they all gauge against each other. You made a good point, Myles. We're building up to something quite crucial here with regards to the build-up of the fight against Thanos. So we know that's coming, and I think that kind of plays a bit of a part in a good portion of our ratings, I would think. Knowing that there's something big ahead, it felt like this movie was just presented at a bad time. Maybe we should have gotten this much sooner, for all I know. We should have gotten Black Panther's origin story, so to speak, in such a way where it was like, we weren't seeing simply that, just his origin story, and then on a note, knowing that, the next movie, by the way, you're about to see is also going to be the first part of the Infinity War. Have fun. Well, now you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot when you do that, so... Before I go any further, I myself could go no higher than 3 out of 5. I wanted to give it a 3.5 coming out of theaters, but the more I thought of it, I think it had to do with the slow build, and by the time the build was there, and that climactic build, whatever it was lost somewhere. I even forgot where it was lost, because by the time the movie ended, I realized, wait a minute, there's something big right around the corner here, and you guys ended this on a note that didn't quite give me that feeling.
Yeah.
So some disappointments in enough areas to say that there wasn't enough pacing throughout the entire film. I don't need to see action through and through, and that's not what I'm saying, but this one certainly had its lulls, and those lulls really kept me bored, too much so. And that's just keeping it plain here, so I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah, and I'm going to mirror kind of what these two have said, and a lot of what Myles said. I am going to give it a 3, and I'm going to give it a very generous 3, because I seen a lot of cool stuff. I saw some new technology used with the vibranium. I seen some new effects, some stunning visuals. That was all good. I found the characters were kind of flat. I found the story was kind of flat. I found it boring, just like Da Boo over here. There was times where I just kind of lost myself. It's like, okay, is this scene done? Can we carry on? Can we get to the next part now? Can we get to something cool now? There was some good performances from actors and some very bland and one very awful performance that I did not appreciate, which was Michael B. Jordan. Yeah. And I'm going to get into more into that in Spoiler Town. But yeah, so I'm giving it a generous 3. I even thought about, is this a movie I want to rewatch? I had to think about it really hard if I even wanted to rewatch this movie. And I might want to rewatch it like maybe one more time, but it's definitely on the lower end of the spectrum of the Marvel movies for me. It is definitely not anywhere close to the top. So, critics, shove it. Clayton.
Okay, well, you guys obviously don't have balls to give this movie the score it really deserves. Which is, I'm just giving it a 2.5. I'm going straight middle of the road. This movie's got pacing problems all over the place. Like, it comes out of the gate hard and fast. They do a pretty good job with the setting up, like Panther's home country of Wakanda and the people and their history and everything. And then after that, everything kind of slows down. Like, the movie should gain speed as it goes, and it kind of hits a cliff about half, 2/3 of the way through that it drops off from and never recovers from. Jay, I'm going to follow Jay with the fact that Michael B. Jordan's reprisal of, what's his name, Golden
Killmonger. That's the villain name.
Was terrible. Like, it was flat and boring, and I didn't care. And Chadwick Boseman was outclassed by nearly every other actor in every scene he was in. He was the most boring person on screen the entire time. And like you guys said, going into Infinity War, like, which is coming up fast, there's no more ground to be had between this movie and that one. How are they going to get Black Panther from Wakanda, which he has just worked to obtain, to that? There was no elements of the greater story in it. It felt really separate. Like, they were more concerned with telling just Panther's story and the story of Wakanda rather than what's going on in the rest of the world.
It's more the origin more than it is what it has to do with the big picture of Marvel.
This movie should have come out last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
give it some time.
It felt like Thor 3 had a greater connection. In fact, there is no felt. It did have a greater connection.
Yeah.
With the upcoming story, Infinity War, which is a big one, folks. It's supposed to be a culmination to this Marvel continuity that we've been building up all these years ever since Iron Man. So it's going to be a big one. It's so think Civil War, but bigger. Think fucking Avengers, but way bigger. Think way bigger. Like, potentially offing off some of their main characters is potentially what they might be doing. So
the hype is real.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the hype is real for Infinity War. The hype is not real for Black Panther. So,
Batman versus Superman 2.
All right, so let's flip over into Spoiler Town. This is where we're going to get to really dig into
They spoiled
this
it when
movie.
they made it.
Yeah, I guess.
We're going to dig into this movie, let you know what we hate and what we like about this movie.
What we hated and what we really hated.
Myles, start us off. What's your best? What's your worst?
So we might be pissing all over this Black Panther as we're doing here, but there was some good in the movie. And for me, it was actually the sister.
Yeah.
She had a smile on her face the entire movie. I don't know if I've seen her before in a movie, but she was so happy to be there.
I think that was her debut role. Lupita Nyongo?
No.
No.
That's
not
her. That was the love interest.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
No. What was who's the sister's name? Shuri, right?
Yes.
So Letitia,
right?
Okay, so Letitia?
Probably Letitia. It's probably not Latita.
Yeah, it's
Letitia.
Well, let's say it's Letitia.
Letitia.
Okay, Letitia.
Letitia.
Anyway, she was the best part of the movie for me by far. She was introducing all the new tech. She was the Q from the Bond world, now in the Black Panther world.
She's Alfred.
She was bringing up pop references, like there was a Back to the Future reference about his sneakers, and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
she was so genuine, and I think that's the best part of the movie, because like you said, a lot of characters were very flat, very emotionless.
Yeah.
I didn't really get the strife from Black Panther in the movie. Like, he didn't really rise up from the ashes. He was kind of always at the top.
Yeah.
And then there was a brief 10 minutes where, oh shit, is he dead?
He's
no,
not.
he's not dead. He's fucking Black Panther.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
right?
I mean?
No.
We already seen him in the
they didn't
Infinity
even-
War trailer, so we know he ain't dead.
He wears.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So it was very anticlimactic for that, but the characters, like you said, somebody said it, that surrounded him were great. We had great Ulysses Claw. He was hilarious. He was like a true villain.
Oh yeah, he was.
Right
Yeah,
off the bat, he was making it seem like he was giving somebody a break.
And can we all
Hey,
agree
I
we
need
wish he was the true villain of the movie instead of fucking Michael B. Jordan?
And
Yeah.
I wanted to hear his mixtape.
Oh, me too, for sure.
Baby, don't hurt me.
One of the worst parts of Wonder Woman was the red herring, how the two bad guys in the movie weren't the bad guy, and you're following them the whole movie and getting the backstory with them, but then it turned out to be somebody else.
No.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of Wonder Woman. Guess what? They brought it back for this movie. Ulysses Claw was a good villain.
Except they took one of the greatest actors who could have potentially been the villain, and he was probably the most entertaining thing on the screen during the whole time, and then it's like, surprise, here's the shitty guy,
So
here's the bad actor instead.
In the comic, Claw is the only guy outside of Wakanda to possess a vibranium weapon, isn't he? I thought I read that somewhere.
Well, maybe at one point.
his arm cannon that he
Yeah,
has
yeah,
in the movie,
exactly.
that's actually his like thing. It's
Well,
like
yeah,
his
think
weapon.
it
about
is,
Captain
yeah.
America's shield too is also vibranium.
Yeah, it is. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
rare to a certain point because Wakanda wasn't in charge
Yeah.
of
Wakanda's
vibranium.
got the biggest deposit, but it is all over the world.
Yeah.
Savage Land has vibranium; it's all over the place. But I digress.
Anyways, carrying on.
And yes, it did introduce us to some cool concepts of vibranium and where it can fit in the Marvel Universe, but then there lies the rub, and then it slowly goes into the bad stuff. It didn't really, it was kind of a MacGuffin, a do-all, OxyClean,
Yeah.
vibranium, just put it anywhere. I put that shit on everything.
Yeah.
You
Drink
got a
it.
broken back? Put some vibranium on
I
it.
brush my
Eat
teeth
it,
with that shit.
fucking-
Is your
Yeah.
eggs too bland? Put some fucking vibranium on it. You know what I mean?
Vibranium
It's just,
shaker.
they didn't explain why vibranium
Yeah,
was
why
good for
does
everything.
vibranium do this?
Like it was
They
just
didn't explain how vibranium makes the sound weapons or the
or
energy
sound-
weapon or whatever it
energy
is.
dampening.
Yeah.
Like, there was
Yeah.
just, if you are going to go to Wakanda, which has the biggest deposit, which hero wears a vibranium suit, tell us why vibranium does what it does. You know what I mean? Or something.
It's like going back to the 30s and nuclear power. You know, nuclear power is the future of everything. You can use it for anything.
Oh, I could go on forever about the bads because it was boring. Like you said, the pacing was off, and I felt like it was almost like you said this. The cliff was when he shot him over the cliff, because at that point I'm thinking, okay, he's out. Who's gonna replace him in the interim? And I'm thinking, okay, here we go with the Winter Soldier. They're up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Things are getting cold. I'm like, and they're scared. They're scared to go to this guy because he is crazy. Like, he can go off on 3 trigger words. It was like bus, please, and thank you or something, whatever they were.
Homecoming.
Yeah, it was something stupid.
I remember Homecoming because they kept using it a lot, and then it was like, okay, this is not a coincidence that Spider-Man Homecoming is coming out.
And then they were bringing the fruit, which they stole. I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna give Winter Soldier this fruit. And he's already trained. Like, he's a martial artist. He can take on Cap and other people.
Well, he's a trained assassin who's like
Exactly.
killed. He's like, anytime Hydra needs someone assassinated, it's like, oh, bring in the Winter Soldier.
And then guess what?
Bucky.
They pulled out the rug. And then they're thinking, oh, we're gonna give it to the gorilla guy, who they also kind of didn't really, go too
Yeah, they
into.
didn't
Why
build
are
up
these
his
mountain
character
people
either.
in the mountains?
Yeah.
Man,
And then it turned out to be Black Panther was alive and well and just resting in a snowbed.
Yeah.
that, yeah, like
Ugh.
that, yeah. Yeah.
Right there, actually, even before that, when they killed
Even
Ulysses
before
Claw,
that, yeah.
that's when I checked out, and now
Me
I'm
too.
watching the movie in a different light.
I was
Me
like,
too.
oh, he's not the bad guy? Oh. Okay.
That's what I was like. I was like, oh,
there's nobody else.
I don't
that
get
they
to see Andy Serkis through the rest of the movie. Awful.
There's no possible way that they could tap anybody else to be a better villain at this point. You know what I mean?
know.
If he was the best villain, who do they have? They don't have anybody.
So yeah, okay, so that's my worst, sort of. There's a lot more, but I don't want to drag on because I'm sure you guys are going to touch on a lot of different things. But those are the highlight reels for me. Like, the best cool weapon ideas. Ulysses Claw was cool while he was there, and the sister, her smile was infectious. The worst, not enough vibranium explanation. It was too convenient throughout the entire movie. I didn't care about Chadwick Boseman's character coming up from the ashes anymore. There was kind of like some weird Civil War stuff that came out of nowhere, and it was honestly like a flip of the switch. The people are ready to change instantly.
Which they never did.
Best friends the entire movie, and then, hey, you know what? You fucked up once, so you fucked up for life. What? These are your people? Like, how is this country going to operate afterwards when the heads of all these different tribes will flip on you at the slightest inconvenience?
Yeah.
So,
At least Man-Ape challenged him, and then when he was beat, he's like, okay, you win, you're my king.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
that
mean?
was cool.
And
They
then
had
he
a
was
mutual
cool about it.
respect,
Yeah.
and that was also some cool stuff.
I like
but
that idea.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's too much grasping at straws throughout the whole movie.
All right, so
Take it
don't
away,
take
Bill.
everything. So let's go on. Dab.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm just going to keep them at one bullet points here because, as you guys had pointed out, we could pick at this for a bit. For me, my favorite, honestly, had to be a little bit of the world building. Now, this is funny how this is a double-edged sword for me because it has two effects for me. One, I didn't know exactly how to visualize Wakanda. So when they brought me into this world of theirs, and explaining that, this is the home of vibranium, so to speak, and then where Black Panther originates and so on, I needed to see and hear all that. I needed that. And that's exactly what I got. And then some. So keeping it plainly, I enjoyed all that. The visuals were great. The way, the use of vibranium as a technological advancement, even a medicinal advancement, all of that was great, With the lack of explanation, I totally get that because then they'd be having to explain every single little thing they did. But a little bit of explanation would have been nice. And I will admit, I'm going to go a little bit further with your comment on the sister. I actually noticed the female cast to be just as strong, if not stronger, than the male cast. I was blown away. Even the tribal warriors, the
like
guards to
the guards of the king, basically.
Yeah, they're unbelievably powerful just by looking at them before they even went into combat. So I was sold on those characters instantly, and that's what I really paid attention to more than I did even Black Panther himself, which is pathetic. I would want to see the hero fight alongside his guards, but I don't expect the guards to outshine the king himself. So something happened there that I don't understand. So those two were my faves. I'm gonna.
Now,
leave
who
those
played
alone.
the head?
It threw me off
Bodyguard.
because she didn't have hair.
Right.
I've seen her before. I can't put my finger on it.
So Lupita Nyongo is Nakia. Is it Nakia or
Okoye?
That's the bodyguard of the king, or is that the love interest?
That's a little bit.
Okay.
And you're doing it. So Denai Guerrera, that's her right there.
Yeah. So this is who?
That's the guard.
Okay, that's the card.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so Okoye, how do you say that character's name? Okoye. Yeah, seeing I found she had more of the hand-to-hand combat that I was looking for than what Black Panther wasn't given to us.
Oh, you're referring to the choreography. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
You're right. Yeah, I did. But that's exactly why I was paying closer attention more to the overall female cast. To me, that's what I just wanted to say. So that said alone, there's a lot of other little good things I could say about it, but there's not enough, so I'll let you guys find those. What I didn't like was going back to that double-edged sword. Well, I'm sorry, because I had to really think about this.
That was good.
Okay, go ahead.
But I'll admit, going back to the double-edged sword, what I loved about the world building, I also hated. I get it, we're in Wakanda. Leave it alone. Leave it the fuck alone. I get it. He's from Wakanda. You know what? And I really do appreciate everything right down to the cultural visuals to, how every tribe was different. And, and Clay and I, we had this discussion the night of the movie, right?
Yeah.
These are the things I expected. that's what makes this movie stand out. You know,
Wakanda forever.
Yeah. So going into this movie, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get a good idea of what Wakanda's all about because it's a hidden civilization away from the real world. It's a fictional Africa, right? But they still had to acknowledge that in the real world, Africa is viewed in a very unique fashion. It's not exactly a place you'd expect there to be such, great riches and technologies to even be found. So it's cool that they did that. But at the same time, like, it was all about Wakanda. No, it's about Black Panther. Give me this impression that he is from Wakanda and that he's got to fight for his ownership over the throne. And he had some, internal and external, problems. But it came down to the simple fact that it always went down to, it was Wakanda always in turmoil. Had little to do with what was about to happen after that conflict was finished. They still had the fight against Thanos was right around the corner. Whether they want to tell me that or not is not the big deal. But in my mind, I know this. So making this movie in itself is, like you said, it's the final stepping stone going into that first major step. That's I don't know, that's a misstep in my opinion, when they decided to launch this film and the way they wrote it. So, sorry, this world building kind of worked against them because of it.
Alright, so my best and my worst. Let's see, I'm gonna go with my best. I did like the world building, like Boo, and I liked the technology, that was cool. And I liked...
Yada yada.
Come on, Andy Serkis was
Andy
awesome.
Serkis was awesome. Anytime he was on the screen, I was like, yes, this is awesome. If he's going to be the bad guy throughout the whole movie, I am into this movie.
He owned the scene.
And then once he left and Killmonger took over, I was like, oh, this is happening? Oh, Killmonger's the bad guy? Oh, that's disappointing. So the only thing I kind of hoped for after that was just to see Winter Soldier. I was hoping he's going to come out and kick some ass because I just needed something because I just found the story was kind of boring. I found the characters were kind of boring. Like, of course, when you have an amazing actor like Andy Serkis come on the screen in a movie like this, he's just going to steal every fucking scene because that guy's a fucking Oscar, or should be an Oscar winning actor, but he's not. But he's an amazing actor, and anyone who's seen any of his performances would know that, whether it be through CGI characters or just his expressions that he does with his face, really. So it's like when you compare him to every other actor on this movie, it just makes everyone look worse by comparison when you think about it. So yeah, of course he was awesome, but definitely not enough of him. So, and that's where I'm going to get into my worst part, and that is Michael B. Jordan. You fucking suck! Honestly, his acting was killing me throughout this whole fucking movie. Like, I know what he stands for, and maybe he mentioned a couple lines. They're trying to play him off as this angry kind of, how do I want to describe it? Like,
racial folk hero.
Racial folk
That's
hero?
what he is. That's exactly what he is. He's standing up for the downtrodden. He's standing up for all of the people who he feels are
oppressed
outside of Wakanda's walls when Wakanda could help them.
Yeah, and I just feel like he wasn't angry enough about it. Like, I felt like he should have been angry. Like, I've seen other movies where this kind of character was portrayed a lot better, and they made them intimidating, and I understood where they were coming from. Michael B. Jordan doesn't have enough facial emotion, or even just like empathy in his voice to get across this character. He doesn't do it right. I'm sorry, all you people who think he's the greatest villain in the Marvel history ever, but he's not. He's fucking awful. And it's all because of Michael B. Jordan's a terrible fucking actor. Maybe if he was a better actor, maybe he can play this character off. He could have pulled it off better. I don't know. Or maybe they should have made it more evident in the character's motives with some of the lines that the character's saying. Maybe people are too afraid to make the character too aggressive. I don't know. Like, oh, white people are going to be afraid of him, so we can't have that. Like, no, that's dumb. If you're going to make it a politically driven thing, then go for it and fucking do it. Don't fucking half-ass it, Marvel. Do it right, or don't do it at all. Don't even fucking touch the fucking subject. But it's one or the other. You got to do it right, or don't fucking do it. So, and you didn't do it with Michael B. Jordan. He didn't pull it off. So that's my major gripe of the movie. And I find it really takes away from my enjoyment of the movie, because if he would have portrayed this character better, or maybe they would have made this character a little meaner, a little more angry, then I could have gotten behind it. I could have seen his side of the story, but I didn't. You try to make me feel empathy for this villain in the middle of the movie. I didn't enjoy that. You know why? Because I don't like his fucking character. So that scene, that was boring to me. I don't care about his father or his fucking problem. He's a piece of shit. All right?
Is that how you really feel?
That's how I feel. So the character's a piece of shit. I don't like Michael B. Jordan's acting, so I would not want to see the scene. He's terrible. So, Michael B. Jordan, get a real name, get an original name, stop stealing a real famous person's name, and learn some acting skills. That's my best and worst.
You should be AntMonger, not Killmonger. Okay, well, that's a hard act to follow.
Yeah.
I should, for the record, also point out that I did not care for Michael B. Jordan's acting in this movie, but I'll go for my best first. The action scenes, like the movie when it starts out, it hits the ground running. Like they tell you the history, the backstory of Wakanda and its people and vibranium and all that. They lay all that out. And then the first thing they start with is a guerrilla mission in the bush to find Panther's love interest. I can't remember her name. But from there on, like as soon as that hits, the movie is action, until there's a point where it really starts to drag, and it's right when Serkis's character, Ulysses Claude, dies off. And after that, everything becomes super predictable and like they're going through the motions, and then it becomes about Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman's characters, which is honestly the two most boring people in the movie. So, but the action is pretty cool. Like some of the tricks that they came up with for his newer version of his vibranium suit were awesome. Like there's a kinetic energy build-up thing where he can displace it as he wants to, and he absolutely fucks up a car using it, and it looks so cool.
Yeah, it's probably the coolest looking scene in the movie.
The action scenes in the movie, some of them are really, really good. Like the war rhinos coming through the thing, like the set designs. You know, the man ape's throne room was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I liked his throne room.
Backing onto the mountains and it's
the set designs were very awesome as well. They're beautiful.
Like visually, I should say, not just the action scenes, but visually, the movie was very, very. They put a lot of care into especially just the design of everything. Even the skyline of Wakanda, the city of Wakanda, was really cool to look at. All these weirdly shaped buildings and everything looked really futuristic. But that's about where my praise for the movie ends. Because Chadwick Boseman's character, Black Panther, should be undeniably the most interesting person on the screen to watch at any point in time, and he is just not. He never raises his voice, not that I remember anyways. Or
he did once, and it was awkward.
Yeah, like he's always got the volume turned down, and I have to say that Ryan Coogler, as a director, he has made a couple of movies now where he has black heroes, and he's really trying to empower them, and he wants to make them seem like he wants people to really rally around them. But I think that in some ways he's so he champions those characters so much that he's afraid to hurt them in the movie. Boseman, T'Challa, wears a layer of plot armor all the way through the movie that he's almost aware of. He gets thrown off a fucking cliff after being weakened to mortal levels of strength. He gets thrown off a cliff that is hundreds of feet deep, and he lands in a river, and then Man-Ape's men find him in the river, at the foot of the river, and carry him all the way up into the mountains, and bury him in the fucking snow to keep him alive. Like, come on, man. Like, the fall alone would have fucking killed him, not to mention that
he got stabbed in the liver.
Killmonger stabbed him and fucked him up beyond all repair. Like, that whole fight was basically just T'Challa getting his ass kicked after Man-Ape had just kicked his ass recently. And, you know, like, even the vibranium displacement thing that he has on the suit right there is like a literal piece of plot armor. Like anything that touches him. So the way this works is that any kinetic energy that is enforced on the suit is built up in the suit, and then Panther can eject it back out with force. And they show that in one of the
multiple
scenes,
times,
and then he actually uses it. So basically, what happens is anytime you punch Panther, it hurts you. Is basically what happens.
Eventually, because it builds up the kinetic energy inside the suit.
Yeah, exactly. That is figurative as well as literal plot armor, because Coogler is so afraid. He's so afraid to have Panther injured at any point in the movie that it's boring to watch him, because I never feel like Panther is in
There's
any
no
amount
real
of
stakes.
trouble.
I never felt like I knew at the end he was going to get his throne back.
Well, he ascends to the throne after his father dies in the Segovia incident, right? He ascends to the throne. Only one person challenges him out of all of the nations that live in Wakanda. Only one person challenges him and just about kills him. I don't know what would have happened in the instance that two people would have challenged him. And they tried, like, Coogler tries to artificially up the stakes at one point in the fucking Man-Ape fight by introducing player under Unknown's Battlegrounds tactics. There's a row of people enclosing in on the pair
circle
with
around
spears,
them with spears,
which I mean it was kind of you could see what it was right away. They wanted to up the stakes. You know, they're constantly being pushed closer and closer together, but you knew that that Panther was going to win, and not only that, but I knew that he wasn't going to kill Man-Ape, because he's just
right.
Even though it's a ritualistic trial of combat to the death, he's like, no, that's not the kind of king I am, and it's like boring.
They had two options: either you concede the battle or you die. That was the two.
Yield.
Yeah, yield.
I thought it said it was a battle to the death.
No, you can yield, or you can kill.
Okay, well, still. It's still there. There you go. They could have just said to the death. You know what I mean? But even at the writing level, they protected Boseman, and Coogler wanted him to be seen as this noble, upstanding. He's the Superman of the Marvel world. You know what I mean? He's unbreakable. He's super optimistic. He just believes in Wakanda and the people that he loves, and yada yada. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, nobody's that nice a guy. Especially considering that now that he's running the country, Wakandans refuse to help anybody outside, which I felt was right at the very beginning of the movie when they pointed that out. I was like, so you guys had this immense power at the beginning, and you could have sent like emissaries out. You could have sent out scientists throughout history. You could have sent out scholars. You could have sent out all these enlightened people, not having to tell anybody else where they were from. And yet you just didn't. You're like, nah, fuck those guys. Fuck the rest of the world. We'll just stay here in our little glass dome. What about the people, I mean, not even the people who live in, like, LA or Canada or Siberia, whatever.
What
about the people who live just outside the dome, who are, like, knocking on it like, hey, man, why ain't I good enough?
The rest of Africa, you know?
Exactly. I'm you know, like, I'm black like you.
That's kind of...
I just got born on the wrong side of the fence. You guys can let me in. Come on, I want to live
that was Killmonger's argument, right?
Yeah, but...
That was one of the underlying ideas of the movie. That is the sins of our fathers.
That is the argument. Like, why wouldn't they? If they're so enlightened and they're so intelligent, then why wouldn't they?
But you're absolutely right about that. Like, T'Challa is so boring in the sense that he just tries to do everything right, and he just does everything right.
Look at the
when you got such challenging characters like Tony Stark, who is like an alcoholic, and he still feels guilty about selling arms, like...
Look at the Superman movies, right? Like, Superman's supposed to be the champion of American justice, and all through the comic books and stuff, like, in the older days, you never saw him get mad. He was always about doing the right thing and putting criminals in jail and stuff like that. And even now that they make the movies like Batman vs. Superman, Man of Steel and all that, even now they have even him go dark, because that's not the world that we live in anymore.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman lives in a world... No, I shouldn't say Chadwick Boseman. T'Challa lives in a world that even where he is doesn't exist. He has these incredibly high morals that are just... They're unbelievable and they're boring. He's not a compelling protagonist because there's nothing wrong with him. He's perfect. You know what I mean? And
he's a much more intriguing character in Civil War because he's so angry. He just wants revenge for his father.
Damaged,
And then he realized at the end, he's like, "This is not the way of things." Like, I have seen that. Like, revenge is driving me crazy. It's driving you
we
crazy.
saw
you know?
a change, more of a change in him
Yeah.
as a character
In
the
Civil
small
War,
part of Civil
yeah.
War than we've seen in this.
In
He's
this,
the
and it was
same
all about him.
guy. Yeah, it was the same guy.
It was all
from start
about
to
him, but
finish.
it was not about him at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of missed opportunities in this movie.
Yeah.
For both
There
Killmonger
was.
and for T'Challa.
I would have liked a much more dangerous Black Panther, I think. I think, like...
I want to see the Black Panther from Civil War. I did felt like we never got the Black Panther from Civil War. Like, what made me excited to see Black Panther was Chadwick Boseman playing the character in Civil War, because I thought he was intriguing in that movie. In this movie, you're right, he's bland. He doesn't really have, there's no real stakes for him. I feel like,
That's what I mean,
he
like,
dies, he comes back, he's okay, he's king again, you know? Like,
it's all about... Yeah, like, even Batman had to take 3 months to heal his broken back. You know what I mean? Like, this guy got thrown
and he
off a
fixed
cliff.
his back with a rope!
Yeah.
Yeah,
This guy got
there was
thrown
no
off a
vibranium
cliff.
there.
But the point is that he, like... a flawed protagonist is much more compelling and interesting to watch than somebody who is just the alpha.
Even look at all the other Marvel characters.
Yeah.
Like, look at Chris Pratt. His character is flawed. You know,
Yeah.
he's an egomaniac. You know, like
Because
and
flawed,
you look at Rogers. He's stunted by the fact that he's from another time. You know,
because flawed heroes are human. They are
Exactly.
they're like all of
They're
us.
relatable. Yeah,
Exactly.
you can relate to them.
You see something of yourself in your hero, and it makes it easy to get behind them, and it makes you want to root for them. But Boseman, I was like, okay, so...
and that's the strength of the Marvel characters over DC characters.
Yeah.
Is that they are flawed and
They're
you
not
can
gods,
relate
yeah.
to them.
Maybe a lot of this, what you guys are describing, it reminds me why I got upset over this world building concept of theirs, where my mind seemed to be wrapped around this notion that, you know, I got to worry about all of the, you know, those who were suppressed over the generations. You know, while those were the people they kept, acknowledging that, oh, why didn't you save those people after all this time? I get that they were talking about the feud amongst themselves, deciding is it good to take all this power that we have with the use of vibranium, and now we have all the means and resources to help them, but now we've exposed ourselves to the world. Do we trust the world with them knowing that we have that power? Because they could just as easily get bombarded by the rest of the world trying to capture that power for themselves. But at the same time, you have the power to help.
Exactly.
Why not help?
Nobody's saying you have to jump into the river with them.
Yeah.
You just have to send people out to steer. They could effectively, and from the earliest point in mankind's history, they could have steered humankind towards a better path.
They could have selectively sent out, as you had pointed out,
Exactly.
emissaries to say, listen, we can help.
But
I'm
right
telling
away,
you, man,
they're
but
like,
here's still something
no.
to help you out with your problem, right?
But
Fuck
that's
y'all.
supposed
We
to-
found the
But that's what they're
vibranium.
doing
On the
now.
down low.
Yeah, that's what they're doing now.
Yeah, well,
That
that's
was the
part
whole
of
end of the movie.
I think that's why I got upset with this, and I go back to the comment of world building. They were constantly telling me about how even the tribes couldn't decide, you know, is it better to use it for our own purposes and keep it secret from the rest of the world, or is it best to, you know, to share it with the world and let them decide what's good and what's not good to do with it, just as much as it is for us to make that same decision internally. But their tribes couldn't figure it
The
out.
thing is,
but
though,
apparently
is that-
that's what it is, right? After all those generations, they all collectively agreed that it's in their best interest to keep it secret more so than to share it, except for that one view of the one tribeman. You could tell. I think that's why you guys pointed out. Like he flipped the switch. Oh, we could have helped these people this whole time. Oh, here's the true leader. Killmonger comes around and says, "Oh, and we're going to take this and we're going to properly help our poor black people out there." Okay, I get why you would want to do that because you come from that world, Killmonger. But at the same time, you're now a part of a culture that does not agree with that. Yet here you show up and all of a sudden they just flip a switch and they agree with you. That was hard to believe too, because all of those tribesmen were always about the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, like not sharing it because they understood the importance of not exposing themselves.
It's not even just that, too. Like, half of Panther's governmental body flipped the switch, like you said.
Yep.
And then they had, like, a mini civil war on the hill there. They had a nice day for it, you know. We're going to fight. The guys
They
fight
took
the
out
girls,
the
girls fight the
rhinos.
guys. You never see anybody die. But at the end, what is T'Challa supposed to do? And they never show that. He could have been like, well, you're banished from Wakanda, or you're this, or you're that. You know what I mean? But they never even deal with it.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like,
That is a good point. What happened after the Civil War?
Exactly. I'd be like,
We don't
well,
know.
you tried to kill me, so guess who's going to work in the vibranium mines for the rest of his life?
Watch out for the train.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They did, however, kill one character, which was Killmonger. That was actually a bit shocking for me. I didn't
Oh, and he
expect
And
took
his uncle.
forever to
Or
die.
his uncle,
Like,
his friend,
holy
or
God,
whoever
man.
Forrest was.
Well, yeah. I don't know if he was enough of an iconic character to kind of make it seem as an issue. I mean, yes, it's a human life. I get that. I'm not disregarding that. I guess what I'm trying to
It's
say
a
is
fictional
that
character's human life.
It's not a character that'll thrive in the rest of the Marvel universe from here on in, right? Like Killmonger could have potentially have been an ally turned from,
What about Claw?
I think they lost.
What kind of great
Claw,
villain
yeah.
Claw
Oh, yeah, they
could have
killed
been?
Claw.
I think
too.
they lost an antagonist with Claw.
They killed
should have had him get away.
why would if you got a great talent like Andy Serkis on your fucking team? Why would you get rid of him?
Especially
You keep
now,
that guy around.
The movie is doing really well. So the movie's doing really well, right? So let's say they make another Black Panther movie, something that's doesn't have anything to do with Infinity War. Maybe it's on the other side, or maybe it's whatever it is. So what are they going to do now?
Oh, who knows?
Wakanda's united.
They'll think of something.
There's nothing, you know what I mean? But
They'll think of something.
but
There's lots of stories to draw
Claw
from.
would have been a good thing to keep.
You
in
are
the
right.
back.
I totally agree
Well,
with that.
let me throw a theory out there. Sorry, I know you want to say something, Myles, but I'm just going to throw it out there. What's stopping them from being able to use their vibranium technology to bring him back? Because he was brought supposedly dead to the doorstep of Wakanda,
Yeah, but
having been dragged by
forget
Killmonger
it.
to there. I know I'm stretching this here, but I'm just
Major
saying.
stretch.
The thing is, this vibranium use of it anyway seems to always have
Who
some
would
kind
do
of
that?
miracle, prowess. Look at how they helped Ross with it, Everett Ross. Put a little marble in his spine, and all of a sudden,
He can walk
he
again.
can walk again.
Jig.
He can dance again. Like, okay, give me a freaking break.
Mr. Bilbo is dancing.
Here's the thing, and you're
What
not going to
Professor
like
X
it.
is thinking, where the fuck was that shit?
You
when
know
I
what I
got
was
shot?"
thinking when they put the ball in his back and then suddenly he could walk again? I just imagine like Bilbo saying, "I feel like butter scraped across too much toast."
Oh, that's a great scene. That's a great scene. Here's the thing you guys aren't going to like. Everybody at this table agrees that Killmonger was lackluster at best. He had a great story, but he wasn't on screen enough to tell it, and I felt like he was unnecessarily angry. I actually wanted a more calculated Killmonger because he had a lot of time to plan this out.
Yeah.
A full lifetime. To
I
make
just
that.
wanted some emotion from Michael B. Jordan. That's
But
all I
here's the
wanted.
thing. You're going to see him again because he was a Wakandan Black Panther king. So now anytime you go into the spirit world, guess where he's going to be?
Guess where he
Oh.
Because that's where they're
There's
all
an
at.
awkward. That's an awkward conversation.
And how's
Yeah.
how awkward is it going to be when Killmonger gets to the other side and then T'Challa's dad is there who killed his dad? Oh, hey, so funny story.
There's going to be a civil war in their Black Panther heaven there.
Yeah, next
funny.
time he goes to the other realm there, he's going to drink the drink and then he's going to go there and fucking... he's
There-
going to show up and the place is just going to be in shambles.
There was 2 world-building Marvel things that happened, though, and I don't know if you guys caught this. At the end of the movie, Black Panther was buying up pretty much all of Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is going to be the outreach program. We're
Yeah.
going to help people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember in Homecoming, Spider-Man, that everybody, the whole movie idea was leading up to the big move of Tony Stark's building. Somebody bought the building. Anybody? It was Black Panther. Come on, what's going on here? Because if you look at the timelines, this movie was 2 weeks after.
You think Black Panther bought the Avengers building? You said?
Yeah,
The original Avengers.
this
No.
movie took place 2 weeks after Civil War, and Homecoming took place 6 months after Civil War. So there's a weird timeline thing. Like even Homecoming, you watch
So you think
it's
Black
like 8
Panther
years
is going
ago.
to be the new leader of the Avengers after Infinity War?
It happened in the comics. You had West Coast Avengers, you had East Coast Avengers,
Yeah.
and guess where
I thought they
Tony's
were going
new
to put
building
their,
is?
I thought they were going to put their money on Captain Marvel instead.
Put their money on it.
Well, make her the leader. Anyways, whatever.
Oh,
Well, there was always a conflict. That was another mini Civil War. Black
Yeah.
Panther wanted to be the leader, and so did Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
and they're always at odds. So there was that cool world building, if you will.
Where's that Black Panther? The one who aggressively wants to become the leader of something that isn't Wakanda.
We didn't see him.
Ugh.
Yeah, and
Thanks, Coogler.
there was one, and one of the post-credit scenes where he's like, "Hey, guess what? Wakanda's cool. We don't just sell rugs and shit." That was good because when Thanos shows up, the world is going to be like, we don't have the technology.
Yeah, I
to
knew that.
take on
The
Thanos.
Wakandans are just
Oh
gonna
yeah,
close
we got
up shop and be
vibranium
like,
weapons here, guys.
Well, it's not going to be here, guys, but it's going to be the world is going to be calling
I'm
for
pretty
Wakanda
sure
to help.
When you look at that one scene in the Infinity War trailer where you got Cap and Falcon and
It's in Wakanda.
they're all running.
Yeah.
It's in Wakanda.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be some sort of fight for vibranium weapons or something. Or, Thanos knows that's where the source of humans' weapons are or some
Are they
shit.
doing Infinity War all in one movie?
No, it's going to be 2 parts.
movies.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
that's cool.
But it's going to be one movie and then a bunch of movies, like Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Well,
Captain
yeah.
so
Marvel.
I think Captain Marvel and Ant-Man 2 are in between the 2 Infinity War movies.
Yes.
Those are the only 2.
You know what? The thing I likened this movie actually to Ant-Man when I saw it because, the thing that fell apart for me about Ant-Man was the fact that the enemy ended up being the exact same thing as the hero, just with the same
it's kind
suit.
of a clone of Iron Man a little bit.
Yeah, it's just
story.
like, oh, different suits, guys. So that means he's the bad guy.
Wait,
And it
but
was
that's kind of the same thing
here.
with this.
That's what I'm
saying.
It's like, okay, now we got what is it?
Now
what
it's the
did he call
evil
himself?
Black Panther.
He called
Roar!
himself, evil Black Panther or Golden Jaguar, whatever the hell his name was. And
Killmonger.
Black Panther, right?
Yeah, he
no.
didn't change his name.
No, in the comics he's Gold Jaguar or some damn thing. But the point is that it's just the mirror fight from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. That's what it is. You're fighting Shadow Link. You know what I mean? And it's just boring because
I agree. They did
all
it
the
one too
same
many
moves.
times. They did it in Iron Man. They did it in Ant-Man. They did it in
it's all the same.
even in Incredible
moves,
Hulk.
you know
He
what
fought
I
the
mean?
Abomination.
There was one more Easter egg. The second post-credit scene. And I know you walked out of the theater
I had to go to the
upset.
bathroom.
He got the fuck out of there as soon as he could.
One of the post-credit scenes, the sister goes and visits Bucky, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
He's waking up from a whatever retreat or some shit. And
Waking up from
there's a bunch of kids that are coming up to him and they're watching him sleep like he's this scary demon. And when he wakes up, they're like, oh, the White Wolf is awake. I actually laughed at that, thinking that was the kids being funny. White Wolf is somebody from the comics, and he was a white Wakandan.
Oh, okay.
Like an
Yeah, like-
albino
like
Wakandan, or
albino.
like
No,
an actual
he was
white guy?
a Caucasian male.
Oh, okay.
okay.
From
So he's
Wakanda.
gonna play that role then.
And he was known as the White Wolf. And
Interesting.
He didn't have Black Panther's strength and speed because he didn't eat the fruit, but he was an expert martial artist.
Oh, cool.
Just like the Winter Soldier is, so I don't know.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Final comments all around the table. Myles.
You have to see the movie because it's part of the Marvel Universe, but it does not tie in with anything at all and was kind of disappointing. The hype is not real,
Yeah.
but watch it. Maybe we're crazy.
I think they had something very strong potential here with this one. They just didn't utilize it right. And I do have to admit, one thing I forgot to mention that I thought Clay and I had agreed on. Someone who would have made a better villain than Killmonger would have been the leader of the ape tribe.
Yeah, I agree.
And I could have
Man-ape.
sworn for the life of me in the back of my mind, I thought in the Black Panther series, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Myles, is there not a character named Man-Ape?
Yeah,
There is
that's
Man-Ape.
why. That's
That
why.
is-
I keep calling him that.
Okay,
That
well,
is-
that's what I did that too, but they didn't refer to him as that.
No,
I'm
they called
thinking
him like Gorilla Man or something at some point.
Yeah.
Or
he would have made an absolute better villain. His presence on screen sold it better.
Yeah, he's a better
Yeah,
actor.
he was. He was
vegetarians wearing fur. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Genius.
But again, yeah, I get that this won't be what you might expect, guys, but you still owe it to yourself to see this one.
It's not. It's on the lower end of the Marvel spectrum for me. It's not one of my favorites. It's there with Ant-Man and the first Thor, which are not my favorite Marvel movies. You don't have to see this one. Honestly, it doesn't mean anything to the overall Marvel arc. You can watch it if you want to try and get to know more about this character, but you might be a little disappointed like us. Maybe you'll see something that we haven't saw, because there's a lot of people that do like this movie. Yeah, check it out yourself, make your own opinion.
Yeah, same goes for me. I'll echo the same thing all you guys said. I tried to be fair and unbiased when I watched it, and it's not great, but it's not terrible either. They made a couple of really bad missteps. The lead characters are flat and boring to watch, but there are some good performances worth watching, notably Andy Serkis and what's her name, Letitia Wright. Yeah, they're like it's hits and misses all over the place. But the people who are saying that it's a 100 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 They don't know what they're doing.
They're bullshitting you.
Yeah.
They're
getting paid
they're
by
losing their
Disney.
minds.
Yeah.
They
swear.
must be paid by Disney.
Paid shows.
I swear the
Thing.
critics are paid by Disney because the
has to
same
be
thing
like-
happened with Last Jedi. Like, nobody wants to be honest about the movie, right? And we're not saying it's awful. We're just saying it's not as freaking great as everyone else says it is. That's all. All right, so you can always follow the conversation at We Promise Nothing, drop the G. You could. What we definitely want you to do is subscribe to us if you're not doing that already. Make sure you click on the bells as well so you get the notification on YouTube. Leave a comment below if you disagree with us, or even if you agree with us. Leave a comment below. We love to see your comments. Give us a big old like on Facebook. We like when you do that. And don't forget, check out Late Night Ticket on Eastlink. If you're in the local Sudbury area, Channel 10 HD 610. It's also on demand. This is Jpar signing out.
Clayton
What?
falling off of a cliff and surviving
Cool.
in the mountains.
Mountains.
Yeah, Myles, the white cat, is leaving the building.
And Da Boo going bye-bye.
And if you disagree with this review, leave a comment below. But as always, we promise
nothing.
Nothing. Oh my god, my throat.
Someone here has the Black Plague.
Ooh.
No.
Good night, everybody.